Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate and Stuff, podcast where we dive deep into the world of real estate investing and the random stuff that makes life interesting. I'm John Whitfield, joined by my two lovely co-hosts, Carlos Zamora from Carrot and Investor Fuse, and Papa P. Brandon from Ted Sysops. How's it going, gentlemen? Happy end of the week. Papa P is pixelated like a 1995 video that you're watching on AOL.
Well, Papa P may lack in pixel quality. He makes up for in a lot of other areas. But I'm good. May already. A lot of
It
good
is May,
things.
isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
We,
A lot of good
we
things
have.
going on.
I know we're halfway through, or not. Anyways, yeah, I'm getting my quarters mixed up. What's been going on in your guys' life?
Through the quarter. A third of the way through the quarter. 1 month
A
passed.
third of the way through the quarter, yeah.
Papa P, what's going on over there?
1 month in. So is my picture quality that bad?
It is, but your voice sounds wonderful, so go for it.
Well, my mom always said I had a face for radio, so I guess that'll be good.
You haven't had your son start to dig that Ethernet trench in your yard yet?
I did after last week's podcast look up renting a trencher, so I would just get a trencher and trench my yard. I did officially close my mobile home park.
You did.
Fucking own that thing.
So, congrats! That was the adventure of 2024. Did it start in 2023?
No, it started in 2023. They dragged it out. It was one of the worst drag out closings I've ever seen in my life. Even title, they tried putting me under the gun last week. They sent me closing docs like 2 days beforehand and just trying to convince me to sign. And I was just, bro, like, I don't. Like, I'm not signing. Like, we need this. It took a full week for title, but they had the whole month. Like, we re-signed an extension at the end of March, beginning of April for an end of April closing. We were supposed to close on the 25th. And then on the 23rd, he starts looking at everything and sends it out because the title guy said he was just busy. Fucking everyone's fucking busy. And anyway, and there was just so much stuff and it took a full week, but they were like, well, I don't know. The sellers really want to sign. They're talking about like, they're not going to sign if this isn't done. And I'm like, bro, you're not going to fucking pressure me. This is your mistake. Like, you had all month. And so I CC'd everybody on an email and I let them know that. I was like, even the sellers, we were all one email. And I was like, this could have we had 1 full month to do this. You had sent this 2 days beforehand. All this stuff can be worked out and it needs to be worked out before we sign. So we did. Took a week of title going back and forth, the seller scrambling to get me my final mobile home titles that they wanted me to just sign without and promising me they will get them later. And that's one of the biggest things in mobile home park investing is people underestimate the need for titles because they assume it's in my park, not a big deal. I'll just go get them. A lot of these parks that are mom and pops, or you're buying from someone who bought from a mom and pop, these things are so old. There's no record of anything anywhere, and it could cost you $3,000 to $5,000 to try to get this title, and it could cost you 6 months, 8 months, a year of effort and labor to get this done. So anyway, miraculously, they were able to come up with all the titles after I put my foot down.
Good. I'm glad you put your foot down. I've heard some people that have gripes with Grant Cardone says he does that on real estate deals. Like, he changes something like right before, like changing the prices or terms, conditions, something in his favor, like at closing, and tries to put people.
Grant Cardone does that?
I've heard. I don't know.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, it just depends on the reason. It could be a good or a bad thing. It just depends on the reason for it. And you got to be prepared to walk away.
Grabbing a book real quick.
But anyway, we got it, 64 lots. It's amazing because the community manager that was supposed to be transferring over to help transition everything is refusing to collect rent for May. So she's turning people back and not wanting to be the community manager. There's always some unique nuance whenever you buy these things.
The community manager that you already spoke with is refusing to collect rent?
Yeah, well, I spoke with her one time during the due diligence and walkthrough. She seemed happy, satisfied doing what she was doing, and then the seller refused to let me talk to her anymore. So we prepared everything for the day of closing, And because he didn't want everybody knowing everything, it's a mom and pop type of thing. So I confirmed with her. She was happy as a community manager. She collects the rent, blah, blah, blah. She likes doing it. Yes, yes, yes. Seller kept saying she wants to continue to do it. Come to find out, does not want to continue to do it, refusing to collect the rent for us. So
she's just like, I don't want to be a community manager for new owners, and so
I
come
don't
collect
know.
your
I
own
gotta,
rent.
I gotta call her. I mean, we just closed on this. It's May 3rd. People tried to do it. They reached out to us saying we tried handing our money in and she won't take it. What do we do?
Dude, this park, I feel like you could write
TV show.
a book that could get turned into like an epic movie about this
Mhm.
buying
The
this
funny
park.
thing is, so I read a book like that and they're not good.
Yeah.
So this guy I'm trying to buy a park from out in Arkansas, he wrote a book like that of all the crazy things that happen in his park. So I bought it, obviously. Read it, and although they were awesome stories, and I'm sure in the moment they were wild, it's like reading a collection of stories. Like like the only good one I've ever read in my life is Tucker Max, right? I hope they serve beer in hell. That
Mhm.
book, maybe it's because I was an immature like 18-year-old dude when I read it, but like that book had me in stitches, bro. Like that. I probably would
That
not
book.
find it
What's that?
humorous now, but
You wouldn't
What's
like
the
it now?
topic?
I hope they serve beer in hell. It's basically about all of his single escapades with drinking and women and like, just being a general vagrant of debauchery
That guy
at
spoke
a
at
young
a family
age.
mastermind one time.
Yeah, you told me that. That's how we were talking about that. But yeah, I mean, obviously we're talking, I think his stories were from when he was like 19 years old, 21 years
Yeah.
old. We all did stuff. Anyway, but yeah, so bought it finally. 64 lots. Now in our possession officially, raised the extra 1.1 and within a month crunch time to get it done.
We told
Got
you
a
it would happen.
200K price reduction. Yes, thank you. I believed it. Although I didn't do any of the work, I give it all to my partner Dan. He did all of the heavy lifting on the raise. I was just there to answer the phone, make some calls, but he strategized everything. And then that's it. 64 lots in. We're now over 160 some lots total
Dude.
in our portfolio.
Love it.
Trying
You
to
could go
get
back to
over
this
the
podcast
200.
and go back to when Brandon had 0
Mhm.
lots.
Yeah. Yeah,
Crazy to think. What is that? Is that
I know.
3 parks now?
Yeah, so 3 parks. We had under contract for a 4th. That one looked down the road from this one, which has fallen through, semi-fallen through. We're in a debate about titles again. The seller
About
once again
titles?
doesn't think it's a. Yeah, well, he doesn't. This seller, it's a small park down the road from this one, picking up on seller finance. He's just basically like, nah, I don't care. I'm like, well, bro, like if I don't have titles, like I don't own these mobiles, I need titles. He's like, I don't want to do anything, and so I'm like, cool. The wholesaler, anyway, I'm buying it from a wholesaler. We're dealing with it. He's
Oh.
like, I'll go do all the work for you. I will go find the VIN numbers. I will fill out the paperwork. I will show you where to sign. I will go to the city, hand it in for you. The guy's like, I don't want to do any of that.
So the wholesaler is telling the owner that he will do all of this for him, and the guy's like, no. Apparently,
Yeah, just
he
buy it as is.
doesn't. But you can't
I'm like,
do that,
bro.
right? Like
You can, but then what you're buying, so it's like it would be a completely different valuation. I don't need any of the titles. Well, then just sell it to me as if I don't own any of the mobiles. But your price warrants the fact that I'm buying mobiles. So like if I make when I rent the land out, if I make I don't know why we're talking about this. I could go down.
So I'm
I could get
intrigued.
into the weeds on this. If I make $300 a month off the land,
yeah,
that's one valuation, $300 a month, and you capitalize it. But if you tell
Yeah.
me I own my unit, and now instead I charge $300 for the land and then another $400 for the home, that's $700 I collect now. Well, if I have the title, no one can take that $700 away from me. If I don't have the title, somebody may come along and say, "Oh, that's my mobile. I'm taking it with me. Here's the title that so and so sold it to me long before you ever bought this park." Now, he rips a mobile out of my property. I now don't collect the 700 or the 300, or he just moves into it and I now only get the 300. Again, completely different valuations. People will argue with me about how to value parks based on those things, but again, completely separate valuations. And we already had one guy claiming that he owned the mobile. The guy who collects the rent claims that he owns his mobile and that the other guy's just holding on to the title and never gave it to him. The other guy, the seller, it's in his name, but he doesn't want to go to the work of getting any titles. He says he has no titles. So I'm like, bro, this is the exact reason why we need titles, because this guy already claims that he owns this unit, and that's one that you're saying you do. And now if you don't, that's a problem.
Is blockchain something that fixes all that?
Yeah. I mean, a mobile home title is no different than a vehicle title, as long as it's not attached to the property. So mobile homes are vehicles; they're chattel. So it's just like your car. So it's handled the same exact way. It's a chattel. It's CHATTEL. It's just like a movable product.
Never heard of
yeah,
that
me
either.
neither until I got into the industry. I thought they were saying cattle when I heard it on a podcast.
Yeah.
I was like, who's buying cattle? Like, what's going on? Like, what's the game here? Cattle in a mobile home park? I don't have any cows in mine.
Grass-fed mobile home parks.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, blockchain could definitely solve it, and so will modern days, because again, you're talking about back in the day before anybody had anything online. Nowadays, everything's kept online.
Yeah. Interesting. So if you buy a park that, man, these cats, I need to move my desk. If you had a park that you didn't have the title on, can you get the title without knowing who the owner is?
Yeah, I mean, you could file for abandoned title. You can also try to go down the chain if you have the VIN and you have a bill of sale. Like, you could definitely do it. There's many ways, but again, it's time, money, and potentially even court orders. So
I was just curious, like if you
squatters' rights here in California
had some crazy deal and you're like, fine, I'll do it without title. Can you get those titles somehow, some way?
And listen, so I bought like my one park. I have one without a title. You know, like that's whatever. I don't really give a shit about that. You know, actually I got two because one's a storage unit. But like, so it just depends. It just depends. But when you're basing your entire valuation on the rents that include those mobile homes as titled, like, it's one thing if you only have maybe missing one or two out of like 30, but like you're missing all of them, that adds up at $5,000 a pop. Anyway, but yeah, I'll update you guys more. And
love it.
I'm chasing another one down by the way. Once that one closed, the agent got a referral to another one in the area. She immediately called me to ask me if I wanted it. I said, yes, ma'am. You know, it's nice. She sent me 2 deals so far off market. One I just couldn't come to terms with the seller, and the other one I wish I could buy it. It's like, I don't think she has it listed yet, so I'm not going to say it, but it's a very high-end, like $9-10 million one that I was just like, I so appreciate you sending this to me.
Not
day,
my buy box yet.
one day I hope to buy. It's fully stabilized. There's nothing somebody like me could do to it other than just hold on to a trophy asset. Yeah, it's not like I'm in the young man's appreciation game, not the holding trophy asset game yet. There's different things. Anyway, so PPL, dude, let's get into this PPL topic. I am very anxious to talk about PPL and kind of where it's going for wholesalers. I know we found a post. Carlos, do you know this guy who made this post?
Are we going to pull it up?
Yeah, we're pulling it up.
Where is the post? Did you message it on Facebook?
It's in your Facebook DMs. I DM'd you. I slid into your DMs like a ninja. But while John's looking for it, the whole premise is PPL dead for wholesalers. And as we go through it, you'll see a lot of different takes on it. A lot of people saying it's either too expensive for it to make sense, that there was a time that PPL was the bee's knees, and then as everyone found out about it, it just went downhill, and that like people, they can't keep the quality up for the quantity of users.
All right. Yeah. Greg,
I'm going to read the post.
Go ahead,
In
John.
my opinion, pay-per lead is trending in the wrong direction. When it was a new thing, no one knew about it, and lead quality was great. Now it's saturated / expensive, and lead quality overall is average at best. Heck, most leads don't even answer the phone. All right, so we've got 74 people have liked this, including 2 people that I already know of. That's Facebook, so it's telling me the people that I know, and 63 comments. This should be fun. Do you want me to sort the comments by most relevant or all?
All you got to do all, bro. You got to. I hate
All.
when Facebook does the most relevant. It's like, don't tell me what I want to see.
All right, here we go. This is very true. Just said the same thing today. When something gets saturated, but I'm tired of paying $300 for a lead that doesn't even answer the damn phone. Similar results, multiple markets.
That would have me flustered as well.
Like Slavenrod, that's been a major issue. I think.
However, not to derail the conversation, but I spoke to a person which is an interesting prospect / customer avatar, somebody that works with home investors, and they pay in for a marketing budget. Someone that's paying like upwards of $800 a lead right now. Yeah.
Through home investors?
Crazy.
That's crazy. Lex Lemon's major issue. I think their profit margins shrunk as more and more competitors entered the marketplace. Who is he talking about? The PPL vendors' profit margin has shrunk, and therefore, like, they're increasing prices to keep their.
It's not really how they. That's not really how they all work, but yeah, everybody works differently.
Skip that one. Tony Javier, put your ads on TV.
Yeah.
We have experienced the same issue. I want somebody argued the other way. Yeah, it's worse than it used to be. The market itself is 5x harder. Same here. I recently stopped. What are you guys eating now? Eating now? Yeah, the marketing for PPLs dramatically. I must get 10 texts a week and on processing good leads if I pay them $200 setup fee. It's interesting. So he's like, it's a problem with the business, not a problem with saturation or leads.
So hang on. So let's talk about this. One, there is no difference between an agency marketing and Nick Perry marketing, right? Like, and I use Nick Perry as an example.
You say when you say agency marketing, you mean a PPL vendor marketing?
A PPL, a marketing, because PPL vendors are just marketing companies, right? So, or like even Bateman Collective or PPLs like Property Leads, Motivated Leads, I Speed to Lead, right? They're all running ads out in the universe of people trying to sell their home. Some have better ads, some have better placement, some rank better than others. But generally, they're all going there. So we're all targeting sellers in general. Now, it's what they do with those leads that then matter and the price that you pay for them, too. So, like, some of the companies sell the leads to multiple people, but you get them cheaper. Some of them recycle their old leads and sell them to people later on as pretending that it's a new lead. Other companies just send it straight to who's ever paying for that lead at the highest price. But, like, I don't see how you could a lead is a lead in my book. Like, as long as they're selling it to one person, and one person only, that's all that matters, right? Like, in the end, I don't give a shit. Like, if I go out and do it, I'm going to be chasing the same seller and hopefully he clicks on my thing. But in general, like, as long as that lead is going to one person without any middleman touching it, I don't see how it's bad. Now, you can argue about price point, that if I do regular PPC or Facebook, it's going to be a super cheap lead compared to paying. And listen, some of these things, I'm trying to fix my camera. Producers,
it looked like we were talking. A forehead was talking to us.
Producers in my ear.
Yeah, but like, I forget where I was.
So I mean, that's the argument, though, right? People like, if I run my own PPC, I could get this lead for whatever. I'm just gonna say some random numbers. I don't have proof right now, but $150 versus paying $300 for this PPL vendor to get it. But there's an argument to say that ads that run in volume can perform better than like ads that are running not at volume. Meaning this, like, if I say, let me start some ads and I put a budget of $500 on them, they're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to learn. They're not going to like get the clicks through and
exactly.
do the goals and
You
then
can't
therefore
pause
start
it.
to perform. And you can't
You
pause.
can't go
Well,
on,
you can,
go on
but like
vacation.
you're just
No,
ruining
it
it when you
messes.
do that.
I did that before, and it just ruins. And it's got to relearn. And
Yeah,
I learned my
exactly.
lesson.
Versus like a PPL vendor, they're running theirs at like $10,000 budget,
regardless of
and
whether
it's just like
Brandon's paused or not. Yeah.
right, and it's getting better
So-
and better and better. Yeah.
So the key, John, I'm on the same page with you. The key is
Yeah,
the integrity of the PPL provider. Can we
Right.
trust them to only get leads from the sources that they say, not buying leads from? I've heard, man, when I was posting about it on Instagram, I had so many people telling me about like PPL providers. They call it like buying leads from other sources, and some people even knowing the sources, like knowing the owners of the companies, the agencies that the PPL providers were buying from, and vice versa. It was just crazy. And it's like, because they had so much demand that they needed to fill the coffers. Listen, I don't need that. I just need legit leads. I'm hiring you to do my marketing for me on a grand scale. I'm auctioning, I'm bidding for your leads. I just need no middleman. Just send me the lead when you get it. Don't call it, don't text it, don't sell it to 2 people or 3 people. I'll pay your $300, $400 or whatever the auction is. And that, I think, you can't say that PPL is bad if that happens, because there's a benefit that you pay for that higher price lead that you don't get if you run your own PPC and Facebook campaign.
Agreed.
I heard something this week to, I guess, somewhat play defense for the PPL companies, is that investors, when they find where the PPL company is, like where their web form is or wherever they're capturing seller data out in the internet, they'll turn off their ad spend and just start feeding a bunch of fake leads, and then put their, like, turn their leads, like if we're doing like what's it called, Fogo de Chao, like the green card, red card.
I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. Basically,
But apparently
then
that's an issue.
It blows everybody else's budget. So then when you
Exactly.
turn your account back on, you get the good leads. Everyone else's budget's blown. You lower your auction bidding all the way down. You now get cheaper leads. That's, I mean, bro, if they know who's doing that, they should honestly just fucking put their name out there. And I mean, dude, that's just some shady business, dude.
Mhm.
That is shady.
That is
I have heard
just-
about people doing that before, where like, you know, even like PPC campaigns, like long time ago before PPL was a thing. I've heard of people being like, yeah, whenever somebody's literally said this to me, whenever I search on Google and a competitor ad comes up, I just click through to it to drive up their cost.
Yeah.
So that they if they're paying like pay per click, they're like, I'm just gonna click on this, until the point where they turn off their campaign. Some people can be pretty nasty when it comes to
Not good karma, and it's not good karma,
Yeah,
and
it's
they're
just like,
playing
bro.
they're not playing the infinite game. They're
oh,
Yeah, that's just stupid, dude.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, so you that's a lot of work. I mean, you should just put that effort into doing better yourself.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I guess if that's happening, man, like that's because then that's a lot of refunds, though. So then the problem becomes it's the PPL provider who takes that hit, not me. So if I'm the guy who's getting all these fake leads, I'm going to get a refund for those.
Well, here's the thing, though, Papa P. The guy was explaining to me in the strategy of people that have been doing this is you're still going to get charged for those, and then it's going to be some time to get your refund back.
Yeah.
So you're not going to you're not just going to keep bankrolling spam leads. Like you're probably going to stop, get a refund, and then redeploy that money in there.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, 100%. It takes like 4 days at a minimum for somebody who doesn't respond, unless you could prove it's like bad number, bad email. Then you can get it almost instantaneously within like a 24-hour. It depends on the provider. The worst PPL providers are the marketplace leads. Like those are anything with a marketplace, or you can't trust any of those people. I mean, I would never buy a lead from a marketplace company again. You just can't trust them. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. Keep going. Let's keep scrolling down. Yeah, keep going.
what are you guys eating now for marketing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Mail, Google Ads, relationships. Yeah.
Teach others or difference you we love them.
I mean, there's nobody refuting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this one. I was just thinking that's the only people who benefit from the unlimited opportunity share everything crowd is the people selling the hope, not actually living it. That is so true. That is so true. The people who find something out and then are like, oh my God, I'm making money from this, and then want to go sell it. Yeah, they stop doing what they're doing. If they get hit by the inevitable gold rush, it doesn't matter because they're now making money off the shovels. They don't care that they've given that up. And I 100% agree with them. It's like, that's just this whole mentality. And it's not like, I mean, I would agree better with it if people did it all for free, but they're charging you for that information, that knowledge. And then it gets crowded and oversaturated. Realtors saying it. Bro love. Yeah, I mean, anything better? We got more comments. Let's get to some. What do we got? Most like the solution become the most likely provider for the masses, so they choose you long before they go looking for my clients that have done this and a double digits return, less than pay, complete a.
Who is this guy? Marketing guy?
I don't know who this guy. There's hundred I've observed. The ones with strong brand generally pay about 1/3 of the cost per lead in the long run. It takes me a while to build it. Yeah, he must be some type of agency that helping you build your brand and marketing presence online.
Hover over that guy's name, Brandon Welsh, just to see.
Rotary
Author.
Club.
He's an author.
Maven marketer.
Cool. Maybe outside of real estate.
I mean, this goes to the point of what PPL it takes to do, or just do a pay campaign. It takes a while to build, but once you have it, market share gains become very noticeable.
Jason Boosie's an interesting guy. Papa P may know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all of this is very interesting. It all seems to be. What does that say? I'm way down.
Jason Lewis is notorious for just having like every single marketing channel known to man for a long time and meticulously tracking.
Remember when they were $50?
How old is that guy? Yeah, they went to this company went to iSpeed to leave. Gene Binkov. I feel like I hadn't seen that name before.
He's the iSpeed to lead guy.
Oh, my fucking God. That company sucks.
Oh my God, that's right, Gene. I forgot about him.
But were they the first one that kind of did it or no? Or maybe one of the
I remember him doing those YouTube,
because that was years ago. He would do the live
for like a whole day. Yeah,
he would have like somebody like RJ Bates or somebody like that at closing or calling leads. Do you remember that? He even hit us up for some InvestorFuse stuff, like managing the leads in InvestorFuse.
So you know what Gene's thing is, okay. So we charge $29 a lead, but but they're not exclusive. But if you think that $400 a lead is and doesn't fill out any info anywhere else, you're wrong. Okay, he's a fucking idiot because you got to think about fucking logic here. I hate when people don't think about what they're saying. Yeah, obviously people fill out multiple forms, dude. We understand that, but they went to your form and then 2 other wholesalers' forms. If it's my lead or I buy it from somebody at $400 and I'm guaranteed it's exclusive, I'm now competing with 2 fucking people. Okay, there's 3 people in the bucket here. Your shitty $29 lead that you want to keep resurfacing, because that's all iSpeed to lead does is they fucking resurface leads and pretend that they're new and they're not, and then they call them too and reach out to them, only furthering my 3-person pot. And you sell it to 4 people, just became 7. I'm not competing against 7 people to get this fucking thing because of your shitty $29 lead. And then the best part is, even after I buy it, you then push it up to the top a week later, pretending it's a new fucking lead, and you call it a follow-up lead. And so now my 7-person pot just became 10 and 11 and 12. So yeah, the logic isn't there as long as I'm paying for an exclusive lead. And listen, I paid for exclusive leads from that company and they're not fucking exclusive either. So you got to go find a PPL provider that you have tested, that you verified that's not going to sell your stuff. And you can tell that when you're talking to sellers. Like, you can vet that out when you're talking to sellers easily. And now, not all sellers tell the truth, but you can ask them how many. Like I was talking to a lady today, and she told me she filled out with 2 other companies. One was a scam. One, the guy seemed a little skittish and didn't really seem to know what he was doing. And then she came and filled out this form. And so the order of it was I filled out forms and then I filled out this form. Not I filled out one form and I talked to 3 people. Now, with that company, iSpeed2Lead, I've called many people on those leads. And yeah, they'd be like, man, I had one guy literally say the worst thing I ever did was fill out that form. And I actually have to call him. I'm like, how many form did you fill out? And he's like, just one. I'm like, and I kept asking because I knew I was recording. I was like, you only filled out one form, one time. He's like, yes, worst thing I ever did. I've had nonstop calls from everybody ever since I filled out that form. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And sellers will let you know that when you're talking to them, if you ask those questions and you're building rapport. And sometimes they'll be like, yeah, I'm sure you've been talking to a lot of people. You probably filled out a lot of forms, huh? And they'll be like, yes, I have. No, this is the only one. And then if they say they've talked to other people, but they said it's only one form that they filled out, then you know your provider probably sold it to multiple people. And that's a red flag. And you kind of keep a little checklist of like, strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. It happens. But so generally that's all you could do for them. But fucking $400 lead. The math ain't mathing, bro. I fucking hate that company. But you get what you pay for at $29. I will say that.
What do you think about Matthew Hecker? The first part is pretty standard. I feel like we've talked about that theme in life.
I 100% agree. My only disagreement with him is affordability of that. What John said earlier, like you can't really run a PPC campaign with $500 and $500 is a bad number, John, but you can't really run a PPC campaign with $3,000 to $5,000 nationwide per se. Like it just becomes really difficult, and then control when you're going to get those leads when you're in the office, vacations, kids soccer games, nighttime, weekends. So I would argue that that makes the most sense if you have the budget for it. I mean, you can go get yourself a Carrot site pretty cheap, and have that set up for like $199 a month. Get all your stuff over there, probably even cheaper. But I'm on the $199 plan. But and then you kind of go from there. But his first comment is something we've been preaching forever. It's like if you read all the people about direct mail 2 years ago, direct mail was dead.
Yeah.
It's like everyone, if you're doing direct mail, you're an idiot. Now, and then it was like, oh, you got to do PPC and PPL. And then now it's like PPL's dead. Now you got to do direct mail. And it's like,
what's the next
the real
thing?
winners are the people that never stop.
That's true. What's the next thing? Direct mail?
It's AI phone calling. I'm just kidding.
That is, I mean,
I saw a video, like we've talked about it here. Like I tried out an AI phone caller for real estate investors and the delay was horrible. I saw a video of this person. There's a billboard somewhere, probably in San Francisco, of this is an AI lead generator, call this phone number, and you call the phone number and it sells you on its service. There was like barely any delay between you saying something and the AI responding. And I was like, holy crap, like maybe somebody's figured it out so that it doesn't have the delay. And they were going down like different paths. It was pretty intriguing as a potential service. So we've talked about it before. I don't think it's a thing for follow-up. Maybe it will help with like outbound cold calling potentially.
I just don't think that's where you cut costs. I don't think you cut costs on sales.
I'm with you.
Lead gen,
I'm with you on that too.
Your admin, your efficiency, cut down your office. Like so many guys I see with these offices and everything, somebody said it. Alex, I believe, my buddy Alex over there, my social media buddy. Never met him in real life. We're just social media friends. But he said, there's a problem with an industry when you have to outsource like 95% of your labor to even make a decent margin. And it's so true. It's so true. It's like between the low, I mean, for all the people who didn't go to college, in college, you learn about barriers to entry and competition in a market for a business, is whether it's a good industry to get in when you're making that business decision. Just basic 101 classes that you learn in college. I know that's frowned upon now, but One of the things with wholesaling is it's a low barrier to entry. It's low margin, right? Like your labor and your sales, everything eats it up. So you have to cut that down. VAs, if our industry hired in-office people or American workers for every position, our profit margin would be lower than a restaurant.
Now,
It would be.
I would disagree with that statement as all encompassing. I know companies that have in-office only employees,
Bullshit.
but they are at
They're
such a volume. They're at a
scrubbing their
massive volume.
data, organizing
not
their
doing data.
lists. No, they're not doing data. So they have no VAs at all. Because every person
Yeah,
that
no,
you hire
I've
in
worked with them for a
America,
long time. They don't have any
okay.
VAs.
I stand corrected then. I stand humbly
But they're at
corrected.
such a crazy volume, though. That's the interesting thing, and it's really intriguing.
But what's their margin?
I would have to go run numbers. I don't know. Like that, actually, I would never be able to answer that. I don't have access to their QuickBooks.
Oh, I just figured you guys would talk about it.
No, yeah, I mean, it's interesting though, like because I was thinking about this earlier today. There are so many wholesaling businesses and people that jump in that whatever, do a few deals here and there, and then there are just businesses that do crazy amounts of deals. I'm still like unclear of why it's hard to do that model small. And maybe like we're talking about here, because the use case I'm thinking about is ad budget, right? Like somebody small can't run an ad budget to get consistent leads to drive through. I don't know. It's interesting. Like I haven't nailed down. Like I've seen these companies doing massive scale, doing really well. Why can't it be a small one person operation? And obviously not do the same volume, but the same percentage of volume, maybe the same percentage of margin. I don't know.
Well, because efficiency of scale. I mean, when you're doing stuff over a larger volume, everything is more efficient. Like it scales out. I could see there'd be problems with that. Like you have a bigger leeway cushion for mistakes that you make too when you're doing volume.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You control the market more when it comes to buyers. You can demand more stuff because you have the source, the supply. And so your buyers will be more obedient to you. They'll listen to you because they know that you're a steady seller of deals. So they will buy sight unseen. They will make sight unseen offers. They will quickly put their deposit down because they understand that you're not messing around and you call them every month and you've sold them 100 deals. And they know that when you do it, you're going to do it versus me who calls you once every 3 months with some deal and you're like, yeah, who are you going to give preference to? So like I could see where like the scale helps those people.
Yeah, I can see that too.
And then sales guys make a lot more money too because they're spread out over more deals. They have more cushion for fallout than somebody doing 5 deals a month, losing 2 of them and only closing 3.
So this is interesting. This person's saying past 4 months, I'll turn it off. 6 months, I'll turn it off. Huh. So what are you seeing with your pay? Are you?
Oh wait, what did Baron Bateman say at the bottom there?
Yeah, scroll down. Why'd you?
Oh, Bateman. Yeah.
I think of Paper Lead like an arbitrage opportunity. It comes and goes. Capitalism at its finest. The best long-term strategy, building your own brand and controlling the marketing.
I don't disagree with him.
What's Rick Allen saying? Click on see more. Oh, that's so shitty. I mean, that's just. I mean, you would have to know those people. Like, I don't think that's the big providers we're talking about. Doing that, like Lead Zolo, Motivated Leads, Property Leads, iSpeed to Lead, those type of companies. I don't think that's what those are. That'd be.
Yeah.
And listen, if that's what you're doing, then just be. There's nothing wrong with that either. There's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with that. Just be upfront about what it is and charge an appropriate price for what it is. I'm sure somebody will still buy your leads at $1 just to see what sticks because they might be better closers than you. I'm
Mhm.
sure there's a lot of companies that could close deals that you can't. And like, so even that, and that's all I'm saying is like, people are saying I broke up with PPL and PPL is dead. I don't believe that. I mean, I'd like to see some data and some numbers. I believe that it depends on your provider, and it depends
Yeah.
on if the provider is doing what their advertisement promises that it's going to do for you. I'm only sending you the exclusive deal, or I'm being upfront and letting you know I'm lower pricing it. And that's at least iSpeed Delete does that. Like that's the one thing they have going for them is like, I'm just being honest with you, at like $29, you ain't getting this. Like I get that. My problem is when companies like them and other ones say you are exclusive when they know that they're not, or I'm only getting leads from YouTube, SEO, Google, and Bing, and then you find out they bought leads from somewhere else. Like that type of stuff is what's giving PPL a bad name.
Yeah.
So like I think it does work at scale, John. I think if I had a bigger budget for PPL and I was buying a lot of leads from a PPL provider at $300-400, I mean, your ratio, I still think you're going to crush it. I still think you're going to be okay. I just don't think even PPL on a small scale makes a lot of sense for people as the prices go up.
What I mean, you still been doing PPL with your leads? Because I mean, you're kind of a smaller operation.
So
What are you finding has changed?
so it just
Because you
depends. So
went
like,
through and you tried multiple vendors and you took, I don't remember, 4 or 5 vendors and you narrowed it down to 1 or 2 that you really liked. That you felt like the leads that you were getting were good quality. What are you finding now?
so one, I have no problem getting my refunds. There was one where I was a little upset because they're like, I've tried responding to this guy for so many days and sent him all these texts and emails and calls and voicemails, and then they're like, oh yeah, we're rejecting this because we put him on a drip and he responded to us. I'm like, I don't fucking care that he responded to you. I texted the guy like 70 fucking times and fucking called him, and that's an exaggeration, but you get the idea, and didn't respond to me. So can you
Right.
show, you know what I mean? Like that was my only problem, but I got it. Like that's fine. You approved all my other refunds. I didn't win this one, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was some where my ROI would have been more like 4 or 5x had I closed a couple more deals, but we had 3 that were pretty big and we had them assigned. We had JV partners on one of them, on 2 of them, and then the other one assigned out. And I mean, one not assigned, one was a novation that was going listed. We had an offer on it. We had a buyer. Everything was all lined up, but we had issues with title. We had an airship issue with like the
Airship?
airship affidavit. Like when you have a lot of somebody died, you have to have an airship affidavit proving like the lineage of all this based on when the person died. There was a lot of stuff
Okay.
we couldn't overcome, and then the third one was a foreclosure that we couldn't beat. So like I don't blame that on the PPL provider. Had I been better, had those scenarios not have popped up, like those would have crushed our returns and like totally changed the game. So yeah, I feel like it's there. But again, if I had more deals, those 3 would have just kind of fizzled out and wouldn't be such a
Yeah.
big deal, if that makes sense.
So you don't feel like it's dead. You feel like, and maybe that's what you're talking about when you're saying like at scale it works because you maybe didn't get the profit
My
returns that you felt like. Yeah.
my hypothesis is not about me, although I use it as kind of a basis. My hypothesis is that the people that are complaining about PPL being dead are the ones that are watching their bottom dollar, saying, I could go do this somewhere else and I have the time and the ability to do this for this budget. Whereas everyone else that you're seeing, I think people who say, okay, I'm crushing it in direct mail. I am crushing it in my own PPC or TV ads or whatever it is. I am sticking with PPL. What we said earlier, those who stick with it win over time, regardless of the marketing channel. You can make money on bandit signs. You can make money on radio. You can make money on TV. You can make money doing everything if you continue to stick with it. I think the larger companies that have, say, 15, 20K to throw at PPL have a good process involved with the refunds and they have a good company, a good provider that is honestly not middling or selling off these exclusive leads, I think PPL is still very good for them. I feel like it's, yes, everything's going to have its ups and downs. And I know some other wholesalers that are pretty big that continue, even when their ROI goes down to like 2x or 3x and it's not a 4 or 5 or some crazy number, they still stick with it because everybody understands it's a
Return.
process. I'm making a profit. I'm not losing money. And over time, that will bounce back. Something else will go down. That'll go up. And I think PPL is the same. Now, on a small scale, yeah, I think when you're looking at it and you're saying, I got $5,000, maybe even $8,000 to spend, and these leads that were once $200 are now I mean, some of the markets are crazy. 400, 500. I was talking to a guy, I was showing him, and we were looking in his counties, and they were only like $100 up north. And I was like, bro, like your leads are so cheap compared to mine, right? Like no one's up here. So I think those people that are with that budget, just do the math. You're talking you got like what, $8,000 at, I don't know, how much money do you want to say? You know, $400. So you're getting what, 20 leads? Okay, so let's say you're closing 1 out of every 10, which is what they kind of advertise, right? You're getting 1 out of every 10 contracts. Let's say you get 2 contracts. You know what? Let's just throw it to 3. You get 3 contracts, but you have a fallout ratio. Out of 20, you get 3 out of 20. Okay. So instead of 2, 1 out of 10, let's just say you get a third one, and I'm just boosting it. I'm just throwing it up. Now you got 3. Well, you're going to have a fallout. Let's say you lose 1 or 2 of those deals. Okay? So if you lose 2 of them, you're down to 1, and let's say your average assignment is 17, maybe 20K, depending. Well, now what'd you do? You doubled your money. Best chance, you 2x your ROI. But the problem is because now that takes this long to close your cash conversion cycle. You're still spending money, which is hurting because it took you $8,000 to get a deal that's actually going to close. You lost 2, which weighs on you, and you're still spending money over the next 30 days, another $8,000 to just get 2. It's not like you're cold calling, you're getting an abundance of leads. So I think people are saying, man, I'm only getting like 20 leads over the course of a month. That's 1 lead a day during the working week, and it takes them all month to get 2 to 3 contracts, to have fallout of 1 to 2 of them, to then have the, so you see where I'm going with this? So you see how debilitating that can be when you start thinking of the mindset of a person to where they say, this isn't working. This isn't working for me. I need to get more. And my argument would be, yeah, I get that. But if you were doing it alongside other channels, all things would even out in the end. But I think those people are more prone to their wallet hurting and the time frame of their money, that I think $8K to somebody is a lot of money. And if they're not going to get the lead immediately, convert it, and continue to get contract, I think I could see why people are saying it's dead. But the total game changer, let's do the math differently. So now let's say leads are $200 a piece. You're now getting 40 of them. You're now getting 5, maybe even 6 deals a month. At the 2 to 3, it's now like 4 to 6, right? So now when they fall out, you're spending the same $8,000, and now you're probably closing anywhere from 2 to 3 of them. So now instead of making 17K off that 18, right, you're now making 54K or whatever it is, right? 52. And now you're like, man, so do you see what's happened, the compression? So that's where they're coming from. And when you got only that 8K, I think it really does hurt. I'm sorry. I was trying to explain that out, how it worked in my head.
No, we're with you.
That's my hypothesis on what's going on.
My quick feedback is, so integrity is the biggest thing when choosing a PPL. I certainly don't think it's dead. I personally love inbound leads and the idea of outsourcing any marketing, and most real estate investors should be more in sales and negotiation than learning marketing or spending time on marketing. However, I think some of the issues that PPL providers and the quality of leads are having would still happen if you're running your own paid ads.
Yeah. It's just cheaper, so you could suck it up a bit more.
Yeah.
Because you're not paying double the amount ish.
Well, you need click cease. Like I had people clicking my ads when I did PPC, and it's a lot. Like Carlos, you made a very controversial statement. I don't know if you know, but like, yeah, I could argue with you, but then part of me agrees with you. It's like, yeah, you really should be on sales and closing and not so much marketing. But I also agree with like Bateman and those other guys in there that are like the lifeblood of your company is to like really have your own marketing and brand. So like I could see both sides of it. Like I really do, which is why again I think you have to like the best companies that I know in this industry, they do it all. Now, they don't do it all at once. They build and add on as they master, and then they don't stop. And even if they're only getting a 1.5 ROI, they don't stop because then next year that becomes a 4 ROI. You know what I mean? A 4x versus the 2 it was last year, and then the other one goes down. SMS one point was returning like 20x ROI when no one was doing it.
That guy
like
would give us.
it was like
We could get that guy who said $50 cost per lead
Yeah.
PPL on the show and have him talk about the old days. But I don't have data to back this up. I don't have Skynet like China, which I heard about in a podcast I'm going to bring up in Pulse of the Week at the end of the episode. But my qualitative analysis is that most real estate investors and wholesalers, their survival trader skill sets are on sales and negotiation. And that's like if like Dan used to do like the surgeon analysis of a day. Like a surgeon shouldn't be booking their own appointments and talking to the person to lease the office and that stuff. It's like get them on the surgery table as much as possible. However, there is obviously an importance on marketing and stuff like that. I just think a majority of people in our space, their survival trade is more so sales than marketing. Marketing is still massively important. That'll be an age old.
It depends on who you are.
But you still need marketing, whether it's somebody else or you spend.
Yeah, if you have a partner, maybe you have a partner, then you can focus on your thing and they focus on theirs. But yeah, if you're a one-man show doing it all or you're a big guy and you're trying to, the vision of marketing can be tough to balance too. Like you have to think of the messages, the offers, you know what I mean? Like you have to do it all.
And in today's age, for a one person, let's talk about a wholesaling operation that is just one person without any partners. That person, especially in today's day and age, but branding has been important forever. Now it's just more so, social media and recording and stuff. So that sales survival skill person is forced to market to a certain extent and brand to a certain extent. You know what I mean? And if it's somebody that's more of like Mike Borger, for example, I could probably think of a few other people, but someone that's like really good and tech savvy with marketing and understanding SEO or understanding direct mail, or maybe they had a cold calling background in another industry outside of real estate. Even if they're marketing, they still have to know a certain amount of sales because sales is everywhere in life and they're going to need that for every single thing. In addition to the main thing with sellers and buyers to put a real estate transaction together.
Yeah. Yeah, I see.
So that's why I'm saying all this to say that me personally, if I had to start a business, I would love for it to be something that's working out, not like the feedback on Greg Helbeck's Facebook post. I would love if it was something like pay per lead and it's very fruitful. But also with my survival trade and probably Papa P's as well, I would be massive on relationships, and that's like the backbone of my marketing is snowball.
Yeah, I hate when people say that. Like relationships is okay, but like you can't really. Wholesaling is such a transactional thing. Now we've all had referrals from sellers and family, but that's like a 1-2 down the line.
Well, I think it's more so relationship with other people.
Yeah, wholesalers.
If you had people bringing you
100%.
like JV deals, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Or even opportunities, and even live Pulse today. It's just funny enough. Somebody hit me up just with a screenshot of Papa P's Instagram. They're like, "Yo, can you connect me with this guy for a mobile deal?" I was like, yeah, sure. So when you have that relationship.
Well, like, listen, dude, here's my problem with that guy that you connected me with. Like, one, you connected us and he wants to talk to me about mobiles and mobile parts. He didn't even say hi. He didn't even fucking pick up the phone. He didn't say, hey, how you doing, man? Good to meet you. Glad we could connect. Blah, 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 blah. He just sends me a pre-canned text message of what he wants me to buy. And that's it. Like, bro, you want to build a relationship? Pick up your fucking phone and fucking call me and say, hey, man, I have a deal, but like I see you buy mobile homes. What do you do? What are you interested in? Maybe I got something. Hey, I got this. And let's talk. One, I probably would have looked at the deal, but honestly, like it's not up my alley. I'm not going to give it a time. But if you ask me and you call me, and it just goes down to how we talk about dispo. It's like I could convince a lot of my buyers to buy something that you probably couldn't, Carlos or John or whoever it is, right? Because I pick up my phone and I sell them on something because that's my job. And so like this fucking dude, and he's like, and he sends me this, Carlos, I'm sorry, bro, but it was just like I was laughing. I was in the gym
It's all
when you
good.
did it.
He's called the podcast
And
before, so hopefully he's not listening.
hopefully he is listening. Hopefully he is fucking listening so he doesn't make this mistake again. Pick up your goddamn phone and make a call. Everyone in their fucking text messages. If you haven't got the memo, SMS is dead, bro. SMS is dead. And then it's like, so then I respond to him and let him know, like, hey, that's not really my alley, but it'd be great on the MLS. And that's it. Nothing. No response back. And to me, what I got from that was like, no relationship. There's no relationship. There's no connection. There's no value being added or received or taken. There's no desire to get to know anything so we could do future business. It's like, I'm strictly looking to build my buyers list, and like I have a deal and I need to move this deal, and you're either it or you're not, and I'm moving on. And that's cool, bro. Like, that's cool. But don't say you want to connect. Like, you didn't need my whole thing, and I'm sorry if I'm on a tangent. My whole thing is to do that. You didn't need Carlos. You could have DM'd me that. He had my Instagram. He could have DM'd that and gotten the same response from me. You went through your network to connect with somebody you knew that knew me. And you didn't take that opportunity to build that relationship. Instead, you just sent me your ad with the specs of the deal. That's like going up to a girl that your friend introduces you to and going, hey, you're hot. You want to have sex tonight? Like, there's no building there. Like, unless you're on like the street corners in like some third world country, you're getting told no. Like, that's not working for you, bro. So that's all I'm saying. I felt like when Carlos said he wanted to connect me, I was like, cool, somebody wants to talk. Like, we're gonna see if there's something we can work together on. Like, yeah, talk shop. Cool, I'm down to get to know people. Like, that's fine. So no, Carlos, I felt like he wasted your massive skill that you have of connecting people, because Carlos is very much a connector. And I felt like he abused that relationship that you had just to pitch me a deal when he could have done it on Instagram. That's all I'm saying. So if he's watching, let that be a lesson. How old is he?
If you're watching, pick up the phone and call Papa P. Or
don't call him now.
All right, hey, so going back to this PPL thing, like you guys luckily know a guy who can pull some data. Now, I'll put a giant asterisk on that, and I would say, unfortunately, the majority of my users do not put their costs into the campaigns or effectively close their deals the right way. I hope they're doing this down the road somewhere. QuickBooks. I can only make it so easy for you guys to do these things, but I can certainly go in and pull some data and maybe answer the question, is PPL dead? So what are some of the things that you guys want me to answer? Like small companies versus large companies and the stats between them?
The question is, did you get to go back and compare 23 to 24?
So that's the main theme, I think, comparing this year to last year.
It's not about does it work. It's relative to what it used to be. Does it work?
But what are the data points in 2020? Because I'll tell you right now, one of the things I am seeing a trend in with,
contracts to leads from 23 to 24. Has that ratio changed?
I can't answer that very easily. Yeah. I mean, I can by next week, and so
No. We don't need to get into that today. I would love to have a follow up on it next week. We could kind of go into some data.
And just leads to contracts. Do you want to know dead too?
I don't really give a shit about dead unless all of a sudden you see an increase in dead as proportion to the quantity of leads. It's proportion.
Anything that sticks out, anything that makes
It's more about like a pattern being interrupted.
Yeah, or you're like,
here's something I am noticing.
You know how in the movies where the police officer goes, if you happen to think, if anything comes to mind of anything that was out of the ordinary that night, give me a call. Give me a call. Same thing with just when you see 23 numbers overall versus 24.
Okay, I can do that.
Something looks weird, and that's what I'm saying. Now, again, obviously, small versus big does matter, but I think, you can even out mistakes a lot better when you have a much bigger budget. I don't know. I'm still doing PPL. But if you were to say like what my goal is, so my goal is always to do less and less deals. Like wholesaling is not You know, I've never, maybe at one time in my life, I did. I'll be honest. When I was younger, I was trying to have a really big, I had the in-office team, I had the whole thing. But like, that's not my ultimate goal. But I respect the fact that, like, even if you're doing it on a small scale, like what everybody said in those comments, the ones about building your own brand and having your own ads, I do think that matters, because I think that no matter what you do in life, that skill set matters.
Oh, I agree with that.
Definitely.
So, like, I'm on Twitter a lot, and like I was watching, I'm not watching, I was reading, because Twitter is for the intellects. You read, you don't watch.
Twitter.
I was X, whatever. It's still Twitter to me, bro. And I've noticed a few guys, right, all saying the same stuff. A couple of them went in and bought a business that was doing very well, and all they did was implement their marketing, their website, their marketing, their
AI
online
calls.
presence. Well, that was a different one, but yeah, like just instituting that type of stuff, and they'd go in, here's what it did to the business value, here's what it did to revenue. My skill set that I could add to this company when I bought it or bought into it was this, and here's what I did. And I was thinking, I was like, we've always said it on this podcast, wholesaling is a great forgiving way to learn business skills. And although I agree with Carlos about outsourcing your lead gen, I also agree with everyone else saying building your brand and marketing is important, because that, when you go into something else, because like me now, how wholesaling is not my life, if you're going to hit a point where you say, I'm out of high school, I need to go do something else, and all the skills you've learned, Facebook advertising, you know what I mean, targeting, pixels, Google ads, all those things, they're going to help you in whatever business it is.
Yeah.
It's going to be a pivotal part of it if you expect to survive. I mean, Carlos is, HVAC companies, stuff like that. It's like, how many of those people don't have that skill?
Home services. We're gonna get into
Yeah,
all
home services in
eventually.
general.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I have a good
agree.
date in Miami. I feel like I'm Papa P right now, hopefully getting a deal across the finish line here. So I met a guy through a group chat of Miami business owners that do marketing, copywriting, something else randomly in this group chat. And the guy's like, I just got my HVAC license. So I met with him and then meeting again.
Did
Wednesday.
you talk to him on the phone?
On a Google Meet, but we're going to meet up in person at some point too.
You didn't just text this person your offer details and that was it?
No, I offered Google Meet, and then I'm going to offer to take him out for lunch or dinner since he's in, you're a Miami guy. He's in Coral Gables, so he's like 15, 20 minutes away.
Do you still
Near
have
the Aldis I went to. Near the Aldis I went to this weekend.
You still have that dinner gift certificate you can use?
I do. To bring it full circle. I do still have that.
Debbie, and you're never gonna fucking use it.
No,
I hate gift certificates.
I'll use it eventually.
I fucking hate them. There's always something. Did we talk about this about Starbucks and like, I forget what they're called.
Their LTV is $8,000.
Their loan to value? What? Oh no, their
customer LTV is like $8,000.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what LTV is.
Lifetime value. How much that person is expected to spend on average.
Okay. I was thinking loan to value as in like I'm buying.
You're commercial.
No, I was just gonna say like gift certificates, stuff like that. These companies, Starbucks has like $1.7 billion of funds that they consider wash that people will never use because it's below an amount that somebody's going to use inside their app, and gift cards account for that too. So you get paid $25. If you have $1 left on your gift card, odds are you're not going to carry that around in your purse or your wallet forever, hoping you can use that $1. You do it and they're like, yeah, you got 20 cents on this one. And you set it aside and you forget about it. And that accumulates and they get to keep that money. Mm-hmm. And like that whole credit thing, and you see all these websites doing it with the credit buy credits, and how many times have you left credits on the table, So I just thought that was interesting.
Definitely interesting.
So, pulse of the week. I saw an interesting post from Sam Altman, a recording of Sam Altman, who is the CEO of OpenAI. My God, ChatGPT.
Yeah, I didn't understand what he was saying though. If it was the same post, what one you got?
Did I send it to you? I'm confused.
No, I mean I'm on social media too.
I'm like, what?
Oh.
So he made a comment at some meeting, and he's like, ChatGPT 4 is the worst version of OpenAI you will ever use. And so I've heard some rumblings happening out there of what like ChatGPT 5 will be like. People are calling it pretty incredible. And it's funny that he says that statement. Like, that's a pretty, I mean, okay, I've been spending quite a few times
But it's a
developing
common
inside
sense
ChatGPT.
statement.
I don't know, because here's the thing. Like, I've been testing 3.5 versus 4, and besides the payload information, like, there's not a whole lot of differences.
Yeah.
From what I'm
But over
processing.
time, 4 will be the worst one you've ever used because 5 will be better, 6 will be better than 4, 7 will be better than 4, 8 will be better than 4.
But that's like I
mean-
mean, it's already like pretty capable. So I'm like, what the hell is it?
I
What
love
else?
ChatGPT,
Like,
yeah.
I'm excited. Is my point of being is I'm excited of like what its capabilities will be.
John's excited to have be taken over. John's excited for the world to be overrun by AI robots.
No.
That's what's gonna
mean-
happen, bro.
I mean, sure, like, whatever.
My
Can't
pulse of the
stop
week is
future
going
from
to
happening.
that.
Where was it going?
Somewhat.
Anyways.
So it's
I
pretty much
interrupted
just saying
you.
saying how bad the current versions of AI are.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, this is where I was going. Sam focuses very much on iterative development, which I really love. So he's basically just like push, gather feedback, and keep pushing, and it will get better. Versus like be quiet about it, work on something for like 8 months, and then like launch it. So I've just been like learning a lot about that, and I'm intrigued to adopt that mentality and see what kind of more iterative approaches. So InvestFuse did launch a beta group sign up this week along those lines. So we're going to be spending the next 4 months doing some big feature rollouts, and we want to iterate our process faster and get it to a beta group faster to give us feedback. So if you're interested in that, log into your InvestFuse account and you'll see a little pop-up. If you want to be the first to try out our new contracts, our new appointments, and our new AI, sign up for the beta group.
Is that live right now?
It is live right now. I already got like 14, 15 people that are knocking at my door trying to get in.
There was a time where I would have been asked.
You're already in the beta group. You have the beta flag on your team.
John,
so
that's twice.
stop
That's
complaining.
Twice today. That's twice today. You've humbled me on this podcast. I am a shell of a man now, John. But seriously, I saw that thing come up. I was working my leads this morning, and I was in there, and I saw your little notification thing pop up, and I shook my head and said, this motherfucker didn't even ask me to be in this group. But you're right, I already am. But it didn't dawn on me. I was just like, I didn't get asked for this specific thing, and I'd like this. But I was like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not joining. I was like, I'm not doing it now. I was like, I'm doing my contracts the old way. I don't need your fancy contract updates, which are going to be pretty awesome. I feel like adding that in. I was a little torn by it, but like I like the fact that I'll be able to edit my contracts a lot faster. This way, it'll be a lot easier, and that has a lot of benefits. I think that especially now I'm seeing than having to utilize, the team to go through and everything that it is between InvestorFuse and the templates and DocuSign and all that stuff. So I'm intrigued by it. I think it's a great add-on that'll be done faster and better.
Yeah, we'll probably demo it here maybe next week. Actually, wouldn't that be exciting?
Yeah.
What's you guys' pulse of the week?
I got two. I'll go real quick, Papa P, and then I'll let you bring it home. One, I've been mentioning how much I've loved Dan Martell's content lately, and he's just going all out with that. I mean, this is the purest form of influencer where you watch somebody and they influence you to do some type of action or something, right? So that happens pretty frequently. But this is his favorite sales book, Spin Selling.
Yeah, I got that.
You have that? Have you read it? You good?
Yeah. Many years ago. Yeah.
Many years ago. So yeah, I like going back and reading stuff that's like classic type stuff, but this is pretty cool. developed from research of studies of 35,000 sales calls. Situation,
Yeah.
problem, implication, need, payoff. Has like small ticket sales, large ticket sales. So I'm pretty pumped to read that. And then I was listening to a podcast with a guy, Luke Belmar. He's like an influencer that does e-com, crypto, just crushes it in life in general. But a couple things that I noticed. So he was talking about Tesla, and this also goes with just kind of looking at the car market. I saw a random video that just came out with the new Model 3 of someone doing voice to fully autopilot in San Francisco. It is like in his car, and he says, Tesla, take me to this place and park here, and he drops it in.
No.
Those are crazy. And then Luke Belmar was talking about Skynet in China, which is ironically the same name of in the Terminator movies.
Yeah, it literally named it Skynet.
Yeah, Google Skynet.
There's
one camera. There's one camera per person in China, 600 million, and they link that with some type of social. They do
social score. Yeah.
Social
score, dude. I've seen I'm not even.
Scary, very, very scary. Like that's where I could see the seeping of AI and surveillance and stuff getting really controlling political narratives,
controlling your life. So there was, the automatic cameras with the cars tracking you for. There was one is San Francisco something. Now the camera could tell if you're on the phone. They put it in some city as a test pilot. This is why, as I told you guys, I spent $5,000 and I picked myself up a 2002 Toyota 4Runner in mint condition.
Dude, you're like John Connor. You're gonna lead the rebellion.
I'm telling you, I loved my truck, but like it was so fancy, and like I can't even stand with like my wife's got a new SUV, and like that thing, everything beeps, everything's like. I can't even back up without it like alarming me that there's a squirrel back there. Like you can't shut your. This car doesn't give a shit about me. This 4Runner doesn't care whether I live or die, make good decisions or bad decision. All it says is, bro, you turn me on, I'm game for whatever. That my seatbelt could be off, it doesn't beep. There is no vibrating steering wheel, like nothing. I got in that car, and then like the same day I had to drive my wife's. The
2002 Toyota 4Runner.
Yeah, dude.
I'm just getting a visual here while you're talking through it. Oh yeah, I've seen a bunch of these.
Like this thing is clutch, dude. And then so I read this story about a guy who had a brand new whatever SUV. His son got in it, linked up his iTunes or his iPod, whatever iPhone, right, to click his Apple CarPlay. The car then got notified, which then went to like his insurance company. All the smart features they all enacted. His insurance company then raised his rates because his son wasn't listed as another driver on their policy. The dad had to call to explain to the insurance company that the son has his own car and his own insurance policy, and that he's not a driver at this on this car. And they made him send in all these documents, and then his insurance company dropped him, all because his son hooked up to their brand new high-tech smart car. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, 4Runner doesn't have that problem. You don't even have an.
I've never even heard of an insurance company connecting to a car like that.
Oh yeah, well my wife got it and I refused to let her put it in. She was like, but they're promising lower rates. I was like, you do not put this thing inside that vehicle. Next thing you know, they're tracking.
Oh, like those things that you hook up to where they check for the check engine light stuff?
I don't know the full story about that scenario, but I have seen numerous insurance companies and cars now coming together with technology to help safe roads, safe driving, all that stuff. I'm sure OnStar has a lot to do with it too. All these things now linked together in your apps and your phones and like you have user profiles in cars now that memorize your phone, the songs, everything that you're on. My 4Runner knows none of that. Nothing. My son's still trying to figure out how a CD works, and he doesn't understand that you just need to listen to the whole album and that you can't just keep switching things.
Do you remember where they put like the 5-disc changers in the trunks?
Yeah, dude. I wanted one. The 6-disc changer was like the key thing, right? And like some of them, I thought I had it because it had 6 buttons on it. Mind you, I haven't been in a car this old in forever. And I'm like, oh, sweet. I got 6 CD changers. This is awesome. You know what it was, John? It was just radio presets.
Radio channels.
I haven't seen buttons for radio presets in forever. And you know what else I could do in this car? I did it the other day. It was in drive, and I shut my vehicle off. Now,
What?
had I done
That's
that in
crazy.
because again, it's an old car. It doesn't know. It's just like, like do whatever you want, bro. I'm here for a good time. Like, I don't care. You run the show. And like, I did that in my wife's car, and it won't let you, right? Like, it'll automatically go
mine
into
doesn't do
park
that.
for you. Yeah, like, and the same thing. Like, I don't have to.
It'll
compress
ping the
headlight.
insurance company like, raise their
Like,
rate.
Yeah, this guy keeps shutting the car off while in drive. He's not paying attention. I don't know. I just thought it was funny when you're saying this. I keep thinking about my car, and I'm like, nothing. I can't be tracked. There's no smart features. There's no hooking my phone up to it. I'm just riding, bro.
Well, dude, the Tesla, as much as I like love it and think it's cool, there are some interesting things. Like, if any higher power out there wanted to, let's just say, stop people from driving, and they're making it seems like they're making the Tesla leases more and more affordable and dropping the prices more and more to get people on there. You do a 3-year lease, and they don't give you the option to buy the car. So they just keep it and grow it to their fleet. So I think the idea is to have...
You're basically just renting it. Yeah.
Yeah, you have a fleet of self-driving cars. And then when I watched that first video, that's the first video, and it's like super legit. Like, they're saying the improvements are crazy, even with like bikers and stuff, like going through lanes, like not stopping, and then the yellow
I've seen
lights,
some of their tech
through yellow lights. But like the most recent update on the new Model 3 is like the last like week or two, like a new update just came out.
It's
and it's
scary,
like crazy, like self-parking.
It's not just that.
And stuff.
They were trying to pass a bill where all new cars, and I don't know if they did. I think it passed the House or something. But anyway, in 2025, automatic shutoff, like remote shutoff, which is like crazy to think, because again, it's 100% possible, right? Like with the connections, like even my old truck technically could have. It was a 2020, but like, yeah, it had all the high tech features. But now, like, imagine you don't pay your bill, and they're just like, oh, I don't need to send a repo man. Just like, boom. Oh, and that's where they're getting at with everything. And like when I were going down a rabbit hole of conspiracy, but you know, the social credit score thing that you said, right? Like those people get punished if their score goes low, where they can't participate in things, they can't do things. So imagine that with your car. Like, they're just like, nah, bro, you don't get to go to work today. Sorry, your car's not turning on because you didn't do this. And that stuff's been weighing on me. Like, we have a safe brand new car, but then like my car, I was just like, you know what, dude? When that opportunity came up for $5,000, I was like, I gotta buy this. Like, this is clutch.
I was talking to a friend. He has a Toyota truck. I don't know the year, but it's very old. It has 240,000 miles on it. And I told him the deal that you got, and he was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, bro.
Yours has like what, 60,000 on it?
No. I'm sorry. I have 200,000 on it.
Okay.
Here's the deal. But still, these things go up to like 300 to 500,000 miles.
Yeah.
When I got it, inside the glove box is a printout Word document list of every single maintenance service since this thing was like made, and every single thing ever done to it. I didn't even know that when I bought it, right? Like, I was sitting in my yard just going through the glove box, and I'm like looking at this printout with the dates and the name of the mechanic who did it. I'm like, holy shit, bro, this is cool. Like, you got to be a 40-year-old dude to really appreciate that. But like, you know, I really appreciated that.
That's pretty funny. Cool. All right. Well, tune in next week, unless we've all been social scored shut off and can't attend the podcast meeting. But we'll do some data. I will tell you one thing. I did look at some PPL data, and just in the past 4 months, I have seen the lead created to contract for PPL go from 5.5 days to 40 days. And north of that.
I don't know if that's really a thing, because you could just be saying that those sellers are now saying I do need to sell, whereas before they were saying I do like. So you have a lot of people that you have in your drip campaigns that like are no because they want a better value or a better deal. So you're not converting them as fast, and all of a sudden the
True. You could
market's
say,
getting a
yeah, a
little
lot of
soft.
people are bouncing back now. That's what
And they're
you're
like,
saying.
oh my God, I got to sell this. The news, Biden, Trump, like, shit's getting crazy. I need to sell. The rates
That's
didn't
a
come
good point.
down, right? Like, because now the Fed's coming out saying they're not cutting rates. I could see that happening. So that's why you
Good
really
point.
got to look year over year and just kind of see like how the leads and closing ratios work, like what's happening there.
Yeah. So I will do some digging and come back to that next week, and we'll do some data
Yeah, let's
analysis.
do it. Let's do
Love
it.
it.
Let's do it. This was cool. This
I
was
liked
cool.
it.
All right, guys. Have a good weekend.